Hey, what's going on, Clipper people? It is me, William the Opinion Updike.
And I am positive Chuck Mockler.
And today we're going to be talking about the freshies. Every single Monday, we like to talk about guys fresh to the squad. And this week, there's some exciting news for the tinfoil hat set out there. Some recent footage released with Paul George playing in some actual on-court action, so we're going to talk about that. And then every single Monday, we also bring you the Luke Kennard progress report. Got to check in on how Mr. Ohio basketball is doing, as well as Terance Mann's VORP watch. Look, every single week, we like to take a look at Terance Mann and sort of where he ranks against a league average replacement player. Not a perfect stat, but a good way to monitor his progress. We're also going to be talking about some possible play-in scenarios in the freshies, so stay tuned for all that and more coming up right about now.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, so welcome to Locked On Clips, coming at you 5 days a week.
Yep.
7 a.m. Monday through Friday. Kill some windshield time. Make us your first listen. Gotta let you know this episode is brought to you by Bet Online. Has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. Bet Online, where the game starts. Okay. Busy weekend for Clippers hope.
Yeah.
I think is fair to say.
Absolutely.
Got a whole lot of conspiratorial evidence we can put on our tack boards this week. We have Paul George using his right elbow content, which was him and Zoo playing some ping pong at Paul George's house, which looked like a really fun time.
Do you think Paul George ever goes over to Zoo's house to play ping pong?
I don't think so. I think Zoo's like, do you want to come by here? And Paul's like, why don't you come over here, man? Why don't you come over to my place?
Yeah, kids. Yeah, kids gotta
Really
go to
busy.
bed. Can't be too far from them.
So he and Zoo were playing ping pong, which is great to see.
Ping pong, notably, game that uses the elbow.
He was holding that paddle in the right hand. It seemed like he was beating Zoo also. Zoo was not playing the net very close. And then in some kind of potentially more tangible footage, so the player development coach known as Chad Bell for the Clippers, great coach, been with the team forever. Really nice
Known
guy.
as Chad Bell, or that's their name?
It is. That's his name. He actually goes by Coach Bell, so he's known by Coach Bell. Posted an Instagram story of some full court play that had Paul George in it, playing basketball. It's kind of unclear if this was 5-on-5 or 5-on-4 or the members of, you know what I mean? Like, I think there were some coaches in on this game. But
The footage wasn't grainy enough to really get my tinfoil hat revved up.
That's fair. But it's more than we've seen him be doing in a while. And Kawhi Leonard was on the bench.
Absolutely.
Which is great too. Does any of this change your hope levels? Which do you believe in more, the ping pong or the practice footage? First off.
Let's talk about Kawhi on the bench. Kawhi coming off the bench for this Clippers team? Are you kidding me?
Maybe he is also playing 5-on-5. Who knows?
No. But between these two things, I got to say I'm actually a little bit more psyched on the ping pong. I feel like that's a lot of mobility going on there. I don't know I can't. It's hard to tell from the clip to speak to the competitive nature of this basketball game. You know what I mean?
He throws a full court pass.
Yeah.
But you're right. It is more progress than we've seen. Generously, I would say. Generously half speed on that. But, so we have two more chances for a Chris Haynes update on TNT. We have the game on Tuesday and then the game on the 29th. There's no injury report yet for the Clippers versus Jazz game that we're going to be previewing on tomorrow's episode. But I think I'm at like 60-40. We're going to get a good Chris Haynes report on the 22nd.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'm with it.
You think so? So if it's not coming then, the 29th, it might be a little late.
Well, if we haven't heard anything by the 29th, we will get definitive news that neither of them are coming back for the regular season.
That's a very
They won't
good
even
call.
extend it to the playoffs. They say it. Neither Paul George or Kawhi will
just
be back
hanging
for the
out.
regular season.
That's fair. All in all, pretty solid weekend for the Hope heads out there, which we love to see. And then on the freshies, we're going to talk Robert Covington, the freshest guy back for the LA Clippers. He's had 2 games since his return from whatever he was out from.
Yeah, there was some speculation and possibly a kid or something. I don't know.
Either way, he's back.
It was personal. Okay.
Yes. Look. We're
not going to dig into it. It was personal.
The injury report said personal. We're leaving it at that. So in his 2 games back, he had 7 points, 4 boards, 3 steals versus Toronto. He was +4 in a 3-point loss. Good stuff off the bench there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He was really good too, just because we don't really have those wing stoppers.
It's hard to play.
We do, but it's just like with how rotations and lineups and stuff kind of have to work out.
Right now,
if you're running Batum and Morris, for periods of time at the same time, it gets a little bit more difficult.
Yes, for sure. And like fully healthy, yeah, we can stop some wings, but this version against that Raptors team, that's tough to do. He was 3 of 6 from the floor, 1 of 3 from 3. Pretty good all around. First game back, can't play in too many minutes. Then he played versus Utah in whatever that performance was.
Yeah, that was a game.
The Clippers. Technically,
I heard that was a game.
He had 18 and 6 versus Utah. He was minus 18 in just under 30 minutes. Interestingly enough, 6 of 14 from the field, a season high in field goal attempts from him, which I don't mean this in a rude way. The Jazz were probably happy with.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Covington, but that's, who's probably going to be taking shots. How have we felt about these two games? Has he done anything? I think the first game back, everyone was like, this is more of the good stuff from Covington, kind of instant positive things off the bench. Second game, I'm counting it as a wash.
You kind of got to strike that second game from the record because that was just a really poor showing all around. That first game, I just think, when we talked about it on the recap of that game, the most exciting thing was like seeing him in a closing lineup.
Yep. Gold small.
With, 2 other power forwards essentially.
Oh yeah.
And then a backcourt of Reggie and Terance.
That's a big ass lineup.
For a small lineup. For what we have right now, that's that to me is kind of a
exciting.
It's a tantalizing pairing.
Yes, we are getting to see some cool bench tinkerings from Ty, which are going to be great to see. Not as the primary option.
Yeah.
Everyone's fully healthy.
Absolutely.
And then that second game, just bad all around.
Yeah, and I mean, it was rough to not have him around, especially just, there was a stretch of kind of like winnable games before we kind of got into this little bit of a skid.
Sure.
So, I think he definitely puts us over the edge, I feel like, in that Cleveland game.
Oh, yeah, for sure. If he wasn't coming back from just having time off, he would have got more minutes. I think things would have been different.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Shout out Robert Covington. Let us know over at Locked On Clips what your hope levels are at. Is mine too high? Is it too low? I don't know. But we're going to talk more about any other random footage we get. Coming up, we're going to be talking on the Luke Kennard progress report, Terance Mann VORP watch, kind of some deep stuff to dive in there.
Oh, yeah.
But first, we got to give a shout out to Built Bar. Will, did you know that Built Bar had so many delicious flavors?
I did not. I thought they only had raspberry.
That is one. Raspberry is one of their flavors. They also have salted caramel, strawberry, orange, cookies and cream, German chocolate, coconut, cherry, barcia, mint brownie, and double chocolate. I have been enjoying double chocolate. A little decadent. Sometimes
one's not enough.
Exactly. If you don't want to try, just one flavor, you can get a mixed box. You'll get 2 of each of the flavors. It's great. Not only are Built Bars fantastic tasting, they're fantastically healthy. They have 17 to 18 grams of protein, calories ranging from 130 to 180, only 4 to 5 grams sugar, and only 4 to 5 grams net carbs. Fantastic, amazing flavors, all tasty, all healthy. They're the official protein bar of the U.S. track and field team. Pretty neat.
That is pretty neat.
Pretty dang neat. Right now, go to built.com, use promo code LOCKEDON. You'll get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKEDON for 15% off at built.com.
All right. So every single Monday, we also like to bring you the Luke Kennard progress report.
Yes.
Just checking on our boy, Luke Kennard.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of started, after the extension that he kind of got in the offseason.
Oh, yeah.
And we talked about, how important it was for him to sort of increase in his role. So let's just start there before we get into Terance Mann. Luke Kennard, over his last few games.
Mr. Kennard.
Mr. Kennard, yes. The most of Agent Smith voices. Look, in the 3 games since we last talked about him, he had 14 versus Cleveland, 13 versus Utah, laid an absolute egg versus Toronto. Only got 2 field goal attempts in that. We'll talk on that more later. Mm-hmm. He has not shot better than 33% from 3 in the last week.
Whew.
Little rough. 3 and 9 versus Utah. You love to see the shot attempts up there.
Absolutely.
1 of 5 versus Cleveland. That one's pretty rough. I alluded to it, but the most troubling game to me in this stretch is probably the 22-minute performance versus Toronto, where he only attempted 2 field goal attempts. I talked about this a little bit in the game recap, so sorry to retread ground here, but there were so many times during this game where I was like, what is Luke Kennard doing on the floor?
Yeah, it was, and we haven't. That's been a rarity this season, where it's been, and it was rarity last season to just completely be like he's being ineffective, kind of like totally. That's what was so shocking about it.
Yeah. There are times when he can't get a shot off. There are times where he's been hesitant, though it's been less this season. But there's it's always clear to me what the goal is if you have Luke Kennard on the floor. There were times in that Toronto game where it's like, are you just hoping that he'll randomly be open for a shot? Because I didn't really feel like we were running motions to get him.
It was twofold. Yeah, he was a little hesitant, and he wasn't a lot of effort.
I think he was hesitant a couple of times early in the game, and I think it kind of turned into one of those things where you have a confluence of events where both, then teammates were a little bit hesitant to pass to him because he wasn't, doing something with the ball in his hands. And then also we were having a lot of success just kind of driving straight into the paint, which, sometimes, you do get more of a tunnel vision in those types of scenarios. But I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about Luke Kennard's last week?
I don't think so. We want to see it be better. It's interesting now. He's shooting better from 3 than he is from the field, which is interesting. He's shooting 45%.
I'm fine. I'll live with that.
From the field, he's at 44%. His 3-point attempts, he's right at 6 this year, which all things considered this year, I'm not sure how much higher that could be. But I guess I would like to see.
I just hope we can stay that consistent, when we're healthy.
Yeah,
6 field goal attempts a game.
Because the hesitancy,
6 3-point attempts a game, rather. Sorry.
Yeah, the hesitancy cannot be there when everyone's healthy.
Yeah,
it cannot be there when everyone's healthy.
Well, and he won't have the same amount of leeway, obviously. So I think that he'll feel the pressure. Luke is, he has a little bit of that Reggie almost like clutch gene where he might be 0 of 4. From 3.
But when he's taking that 5th shot, you're not mad at it.
Yeah. You definitely want him to take that. But
that's a good call.
I just kind of want to look at him so far in the season. He's averaging 12, 3, and 2.
Okay.
Is this better or worse than what you had expected from him?
Well, I think everyone expected a much different season. So, if that were everyone healthy, sure, I'd be like, that's pretty solid. We were just talking before the pod about how he's had a 50% increase in scoring from last season.
Yeah.
Which is a big jump.
That's a big jump.
Percentage-wise, absolutely. But I think this year, I've been mostly you got to be pretty hyped, right? 45% from 3. He's doing kind of exactly what he's supposed to be doing. I think what's happening with the roster is just too much for him to kind of deal with. And I think that's kind of fine once you take a step back from it.
He's also getting way more attention from defenders this season.
Yes. He's getting gamed out.
Than what he's going to see, moving forward, especially if this team
Great point.
Is at a fully healthy level. So, I think this is... I guess it's better than I had expected, but it's about average with what my hopes were. You know what I mean?
Sure.
To me, for Luke Kennard, 12, 3, and 2, consistently, if he continues this level of at least effort on defense, I feel
still shooting 40s from 3.
Yeah, that's a really, really solid contribution. Maybe if he could facilitate a little bit more off the bench, but that's also going to be dependent on the players that he's around because he's kind of limited in, spaces that he can operate in if there's not much other shooting around him. There's kind of a lot of variables there with him being more of a playmaker on the second unit. But no, to me, this is where my expectation, where my hopes were, I guess.
Yeah.
But based on where we were last season from Luke Kennard, my expectations were a little bit lower than what my hopes were. So I would say in that regard, we've exceeded expectations. And I think a major contributing factor of that to me is we've just seen that it is clear that
he can do what he's supposed to do, and
he can do well. Not only can he do what he's supposed to do, but we actually know how to use him, and his teammates know how to operate with him on the floor. Which I didn't feel like I didn't think
it did not exist last year.
Last season, I just didn't feel like we always got a sense of that.
Yeah, that's a really good call. The whole package has been better. The process has been great.
Yeah.
For Luke this year. Talking Terance Mann now. Terance Mann VORP watch. VORP is value over replacement player. If you're a 0, you're a bit better than a G leaguer. Per the stat. It's a cumulative stat. It's a bit wonky and doesn't tell the whole story. Regardless, it's an excuse to talk Terance Mann and his progress. Last season, again, this is a cumulative stat. Goes up or down every game. He was at a 0.6 for the whole season. This season, he's at a 0.6 with 9 games left. So, should be able to have a better VORP than last year.
Yeah.
Maybe be at a 1.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. Last 3 games since the last Terance Mann VORP watch, he's been kind of nothing short of fantastic.
He's been crushing it lately, man.
Yes, he's averaging 16 points, 7 boards, 4.6 assists, 1 steal. Just phenomenal. I mean, he played 45 minutes versus the Raptors, but we needed all 45. So he's just kind of, I mean, he said
he almost stole that one. Terance Mann almost stole that one.
He really almost did. Man, that would have been great. He said he'd do whatever Ty Lue needed. He's been doing that. I mean, we kind of talked about it, but these last 3 games has been kind of, sure, the percentage against, the Raptors wasn't necessarily the best, but he's kind of doing what we all wanted him to do from the start of the season, right?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, that's so remarkable. It's just when he's aggressive on that second unit, he really, truly can be a facilitator and driving sort of agent of that offense.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a spot that, I had some serious questions about. And even, coming into this season with all of our expectations for Mann being as high as they were, I still don't think many of us were thinking of him as, being kind of a point or facilitator type of role.
Ty says he plays the 6.
Yeah. But like seeing him, just especially what he can do when he's like able to get downhill and into the paint, like as far as, collapsing the defense, opening things up for his teammates.
Yeah.
I think that is really, really valuable, especially for a team that is a little guard light. Especially,
guard light,
I mean, especially in terms of we have guards, but like guards who are, point guards.
Yeah.
The dirty Clippers
the term
word.
I'm looking for is point guards.
The dirty Clippers word, which is, true point guards.
So on this season, he's averaging 10.5, 5.5, and 2.5 per game. If you look at his per 36 versus last season, it is virtually the exact same.
Okay.
So last season, here's what he averaged. 13.5 points, 6.9 boards, 3.0 assists, 0.8 steals, 0.4 blocks.
This is per 36.
This is per 36. Per 36 this year, 13.2 points, 6.8 boards, 3.2 assists, 0.9 steals, and 0.3 blocks.
So one thing, honestly, that surprises me about this is just that his numbers aren't closer to his per 36, like that his minutes are low enough that those numbers aren't like nearly equal for this season.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's a good call.
To his actual stats and the per 36 stats. But I mean, this is surprising to me. I think the thing that contextually you have to think about is, it's per 36.
Yeah,
it is what it is. It's not a perfect stat by any means. It's kind of like predicting the race of someone in a race after their first mile.
Yeah, that's a very good call. That does
then
not always work
that
out
over the next 26.2 miles.
Yeah,
Anyways,
that does not always work out.
But I think the other thing to contextualize is that the talent around him was much different last season.
Which is very much, you look at his net rating. Last season, he was a plus 13 guy. This season, he's plus 4.
Yeah.
Still pretty good, all things considered.
But you're talking about a team that was
much different.
4th in the Western Conference versus, hoping to hold down 8.
Oh, we're going to hold down 8. His percentages gone down for 3, but, that's just from, he's just had more attempts. Here's the thing. Is this anything? I might be grabbing at straws here. His usage rate is just 0.7% more this season than last season, which kind of makes me question Basketball Reference in terms of these stats. But also, if that's true, that's a little jarring. I don't know if it's a bad thing, but it's just odd, right? Like he was at 15.1% last year. He's at 15.8% this year.
I think it depends. I'd be curious to see what it looks like in games, especially like since Bledsoe has been gone, because I think that usage rate has definitely looked a little bit different. It's been a thing where I do feel like Mann has had some growing pains some more in this season in that, he's just tasked with kind of doing a lot. And that's not necessarily always being involved. Yeah, that's not necessarily always being involved in the offense. Sometimes he's out there to sort of create things, and sometimes when he's deferring, that can affect it too.
Yeah, and we've seen that. It's just It's been a good
year.
It is
surprising,
overall.
though. You're right, though. The usage is a little surprising.
And we'll see what happens in this last stretch of games, but we kind of all hope he can close the season out like he's been playing even before these last 3 games. He's been great.
Yeah.
Been stuffing that stat sheet. Shout out Terance Mann. Shout out Luke Kennard. Coming up, we're talking some play and opponent watch, and then just a cool kind of collab the Clippers did. But first, Will, if I wanted to bet online, I have no idea. Where can I do that?
Oh, you got to check out betonline.net. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. It's that time of the year again as the big college basketball tournament is finally upon us.
Huge basketball tournament.
Oh, love the big basketball tournament. From all the latest odds, contests, and player props, BetOnline.net is the #1 source for all your sports betting needs and info. BetOnline remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino games. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts and ends.
All right, welcome to Shavings.
Hey, this is Shavings.
Cool, Shavings. So we're talking play and opponent watch.
Uh-huh.
Last week, we kind of talked about how hellish the Clippers' schedule is, how the Wolves were only a game and a half back of the Nuggets for that 6th seed, how we could maybe see the Nuggets in that 6th seed, in that 7th seed.
Looking more and more likely.
Yes, it's a little terrifying. The Wolves are now a half game out of the Nuggets for 6th, and they're also only a game and a half out of the Mavs for 5. So probably going to end up being,
Could be looking at a bloodbath in the lower half of that sort of seeding.
Yes. So let's say it's the Nuggets, because right now the Wolves are playing some pretty damn good basketball. Thanks to a new addition, Patrick Beverley. He's a culture changer. He's elite. He's helped that team out a lot. But so how are we feeling about this? It feels like it's probably going to be the Nuggets.
Both of these teams feel tough. And I mean, I know that we've kind of talked our fair share of smack on the Timberwolves, seeing as how we've done against them in the regular season. But this Timberwolves team is looking a lot different. They're hitting the peak at the right time.
Yes.
And, obviously this Nuggets team is also terrifying.
Yes.
So
just historically, like which stress do we want? Do we want new stress versus the Timberwolves? Or do we want remind us of one of the worst times fan base wise against the Nuggets?
Yeah.
With less on the line.
It's it's a tough coin to flip, and it's the poop dollar of coins.
It is the poop dollar of coins. It's the Dookie penny is what it is. I guess if I have to choose, it's the Nuggets.
Yeah. I don't know.
I guess.
I think
less star power.
They say best player in a series usually wins the series.
Yeah, we're pretty rough either way. So you take the Timberwolves over the Nuggets? I mean, it's not an easy choice. It sucks either way.
Know.
I think I
maybe once again, I look at body of work from the regular season.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I don't know. I think the Nuggets would have to work a lot harder to beat us.
You think so?
Yeah, they just don't have as much. I also think the Minnesota home crowd is going to be terrifying for the play-in.
Are they going to count this as a playoff game?
No, these stats I'm pretty sure these stats exist in nebulous.
Yeah, it's a moratorium.
So if you have 100 points in the play-in game, do you think people would poo-poo it? They'd be like, oh, big deal.
Well, where does the stat go?
Yeah, you can't even take it down.
It's not a playoff stat, not a regular season stat. It
imagine,
doesn't really exist.
Imagine the next time someone scores 100 points is like the 8-9 play-in or whatever, but it's the 9 seed that loses. And it's just like, oh, this was not worth it. This is the worst 100-point game ever. That'll be a good time. Either way, let us know who you'd rather play over at Lifetime Clips. And now, Clippers did a really cool collab with Crenshaw Skate Club, which is awesome. It drops on the 25th. You can kind of register right now. I did, which is great. The Crenshaw Skate Club founder, Toby McIntosh, been a Clippers fan since childhood when he started going to games with his dad. Crenshaw Skate Club is committed to representing inner city skaters and skate culture. Their values of inclusion and representation are a natural fit with the Clippers' commitment to leveling the playing field and empowering the next generation to be great. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it also looks really good. You should check it out on social media or just Google it. I'm sure you can find it on Google.
Yep, you absolutely can probably find it on Google. No, just some nice, just hoodies and tees. Nothing better than that.
Yeah, it's like a cool looking bubble letters. I like it. I'm a fan.
Yeah, you can find it on Google too. You check it out.
Yeah, Google. Yeah, you can Google.
All right, that about wraps things up. Hope everyone had a good weekend. If you ran the marathon, good for you.
Yeah.
If you supported, also good for you.
If you planned this new course,
go straight to hell.
Yeah.
If you live in Santa Monica,
big double birds.
Big double bird to everyone in Santa Monica who said, no, the marathon was...
We're going to charge too much money so the city can no longer run through Santa Monica and can double back through Century City. Anyway.
We're going to talk about this more on Locked On Distance Running. Tuesday's episode, preview of Clippers versus Jazz. Twitter Tuesday, so send your questions into @LockedOnClips. We love answering them. Please send them in. Don't ask us when Paul George and Kawhi are coming back. We don't know. Or do we? We don't.
Maybe.
Whatever else happens between now and then in Clipperland, if someone wanted to review us, where could they do that?
So you could leave a rating or review for us over on Apple Podcasts or the podcast app on your mobile device. You can also review us over on Spotify. That works, on your browser, on your desktop, on your mobile device. Tablet, yeah, absolutely. 5 stars really help the show out. We'll definitely read your review on air. You can listen to us on either one of those podcasts. You can also listen to us on Google Podcasts. We're on Stitcher. We're on Deezer. We're on Amazon Music. You can always tell your smart speaker to play Locked On Clippers. We mentioned it up top, but we do come at you 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Pacific. Hey, keep rocking with us.
Yeah. It's a good time over here. Playing games coming. It's going to be stressful. It'll be fun, though. I have been positive, Chuck Mockler.
And I am William the Opinion Updike. And as always, we appreciate you.